Hi, welcome back. This is Adventures with Dr. Joe. Let's rescue a nozzle from a 3D printer. This is my Prusa XL. I like it very much. Occasionally you'll get a stuck filament error sign, and then you need to do a few things to get that to work. Either take the filament out and put it back in. That will occasionally work. Take the filament out, put a different filament in. That will occasionally work. Change the Bowden tubing, that PTFE tubing, to one that has a 3mm inside diameter, so the filament flow goes much more easily. Tighten the screws holding the idler arm against the drive gear, or change the nozzle. And a number of times I've had to change the nozzle because everything else I did didn't work. And the best way to change the nozzle is to first unload the filament, because that'll get the tip very hot. Then you can use a wire brush to carefully wipe the edges of the nozzle when it's in the extruder, plus the filament will come out. The reason I want to wipe the edges of the nozzle is so that the wrench will fit on it. This is a wrench I use, 7mm, and it fits on the nozzle really nicely so that you can unscrew it. To grasp the hot end requires a 13mm wrench, and I like this wrench way better than the stamped steel little cheapy one that comes with the Prusa. I'll leave a link to all these things. And then of course the first thing you need to do is loosen that set screw which holds the nozzle in place, and take the silicone cover off the nozzle. This is a Torx T8 screwdriver, which you need to loosen the set screw holding the nozzle in place. I have a link to this also. You know, the whole process of removing the nozzle seems kind of complex, but as soon as you do it a couple times, it's pretty easy. And once you've got the nozzle out, we need to remove all of the filament that's still in the nozzle itself. The inside of the nozzle is a 2mm diameter, so that the 1.75mm filament fits in through it easily. The easiest way I find to remove most of the filament from the nozzle is to use a drill bit. Now, I cannot find a long 2mm drill bit, but I can find a long 5/64 inch drill bit, which works really well. Look how nice and long that is. And when we drill this out, what I typically do is I mark the drill bit so that it won't go into the head of the nozzle. The nozzle tip is made of brass. That drill can go right through it. And this is what it looks like if that occurs. You get a messed up drill bit, or sorry, you get a messed up nozzle that you might as well just throw away. So we're going to mark the drill bit so that it doesn't go into the nozzle itself. So right to there. So it'll go there, and then you got to stop when you see that coming up to that line, or else, again, it'll drill right through the end and ruin your nozzle. So let's do that. So here we have a nozzle that I've removed, and it's in good shape. And what we'll do is just drill this out. Drill it out like that in pieces, and then you'll find that the filament comes out like that. But don't go past your blue line, which is there. There, now that's all drilled out, but there's still some filament left in the tip, so let's heat it up and use a fine probe to open up the end of the nozzle. Okay, so we're going to heat the nozzle up. And I've got a very fine probe here, and I'll have a link to where you get these probes. They're very inexpensive. But this will set your nozzle up to be used again, which is a very cost-effective way to do it. Once you heat this up, the remaining filament inside the very tip of the nozzle will be melted, and you can open it up using one of these very fine probes. So get it in the hole, and then move it up and down, and you've opened that up. Typically, the probes come in a cylinder like this. You get an assortment of various sizes, but you need one smaller than 0.4 millimeters, which is the classic opening now with the Prusa models. Other printers may use a different diameter nozzle, so we'll have a link to all of that. So once we've made the nozzle nice, put it back in its little storage box, and it will work again. And so you've saved yourself some money. These nozzles are not that expensive anymore. eBay, Amazon, AliExpress, they can be had for $25 or a little more than that. So they're pretty good value. But these can be reused. Typically I'll put it in another extruder and it'll work fine for quite a while. And then we get that stuck filament error again. We have to fix it. So there you go. So hey, I'll put all the links of all those products in the video description. If you found this helpful, please click thumbs up. Consider subscribing. Thanks.